Yeah.
What do you need?
Let's have a word. What do you say?
I'd almost... Aye, for that amount I can be persuaded.
Yeah.
God be with you.
Good day to you.
I'd like to order something here.
So, what are you interested in?
Proper bath. And my clothes need washing.
I'm sure you'll be... God be with you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hey, Henry! I'd like a word with you.
What's it about, Stefan?
Ah, Henry, the very man I wanted to see. I heard you got the ring from Dangler and gave it to the stone.
Maybe.
Let's not beat around the bush. I could use your help too. I think the stone has had the ring long enough, if you get what I'm saying.
I'll help you. I've got nothing else to do anyway.
I want to steal the ring from the stone while he's asleep, but that fella sleeps with one eye open. He needs a little help with sleeping soundly, and I've got a feeling you're the kind of man who knows.
Sure. I'll bring you some sleeping potion.
Great. I knew I could count on you.
I've got that potion for you. A few drops in the stone's drink and he'll sleep like a baby.
I hope not. Babies have a tendency to shit themselves and wake up screaming.
They say someone there owes them a pile of coin. They'll share with us.
They're the ones who owe a pile of coin, and that's why they want to get out of here. Telling you, Jude, one morning we'll wake up.
Let me guess. It's about that ring?
Yeah. You gave it to Fletch, right?
Yeah.
That's a shame. I had my eye on it. Any idea where he put it? He definitely ain't got it on him.
Sorry, not a clue.
Look here. If you could get it back from him and bring it to me, I'll give you something for your trouble.
Sounds fair enough. I want that ring. I believe you still have...
Ha! First he brings me the ring, then he wants it back.
Well, those are the rules of the game.
True enough, only I did the sensible thing and hid it carefully. It's not so much about the free booze, but just to make things interesting. Here's a wee clue for you. Find the dead standing among the living and turn your eyes heavenward.
I'm looking for the ring, but Stefan has hidden it somewhere. Any idea where it might be?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you know something. Where he hid it. Birds? Something to do with birds?
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me any more than that?
Mm-mm.
many redheads in these parts. Remember those three sisters in Colleen? What were they called again? Yeah, and Kutka. One blind, one deaf, and the other dumb. And we could only get the blind one to go for you. Poor lass.
I've got the ring.
Kuno won't know what hit him. I'll drink the alehouse dry, just to get my money's worth. Here, have a drink yourself, on me.
Thanks. Enjoy. Sir Kuno, can you tell me something about yourself?
Drop the sir. That title brought me nothing but grief. But what do you want to know?
Sir Radzig told me the Rickvold family lost its wealth. How did that happen?
There's all sorts of ways to become impoverished. Nothing easier. Especially when your father's a fool. And your mother's mad as a bat.
Oh.
But it's a long and twisted story. We took our name from Rickval Castle, but that actually belonged to the convent of the Poor Clares in Tynitz, and my father only leased it. You see, he knew the abbess there since they were young. Knew her very well. There was even talk that she only joined the order because her family wouldn't let her marry him. Anyway, whether he was fucking her right there in the convent,
Well, nobles can be very devout sometimes.
not my old man. He cursed like a tanner's hand. More than once, he threatened to take a whip. Anyway, my mother never had strong nerves. Truth be told, her sanity was always shaky. Pa's escapades drove her cuckoo entirely. Then, one frosty December morning, I was woken by screaming and smoke. I looked out the window. I saw my mother there, in the courtyard, wreathed in flames. Behind her, the stables, the farm buildings and the tower were burning too. And she just stood there, shrieking with laughter.
Christ, that sounds like a scene straight out of hell.
Hellish it was, I can tell you. Me and my sister Adela and a few servants managed to get out before the whole place went up. I couldn't get to my father. Or my little brother. Poor lad was only 7. My sister and I were left destitute after the fire. Then my cousin, Adam of Drevich, took us into his castle. A few weeks later, he offered to buy what was left of our estates and sell me a small fortress near Akovnik. It was a great relief. We suddenly had some hope of a future again. So I told my sister about it. And it was the biggest mistake of my life. A week later, the two of them announced to me they were getting married. And all that was left of our estates, lands, woods, villages, Adela was to get it all as a dowry.
But surely that was for you to decide. You were the head of the family, right?
Aye. Only I barely had 17 years under my belt, and I just lost everything. Of course.
That's pretty harsh.
You're telling me. But I'm not complaining. As my pa always used to say, if you can turn your hand to something, you never be lost. I doubt.
What about your debt to Sir Radzig? How did that come about?
A twist of fate, lad. I was fighting in the hostilities between the House of Schallenberg and the town of Colleen. Some trade dispute it was. In the end, the two sides negotiated a truce. And I rode to Colleen with the delegation. I could tell at first sight he was a man after my own heart. A likeable rogue. We spent the whole night drinking together and talking. And in the morning, we set off together, with sore heads. Only, once we reached the city gates, they arrested me on the spot. On the other hand, I was a member of the peace delegation, so by rights, Colleen is a royal city. So he was there to represent the king.
I see. So
That's right. Anyway, they threw me in a dungeon, and a few days later, word reached me that the Schallenbergs had reached an agreement with the... And I'd surely have ended my days swinging from the town battlements if it hadn't been for Radzig. He liked me, and he could see it was a dirty.
lucky for you.
Indeed. I owe my life to Radzig, and I'll never forget it. He's asked me twice before for help. This is the third time. And how could I refuse him?
I'd like to ask about your men.
Ask away.
What about the fellow they called Dangler?
I've never ridden with a better man, I can tell you. He doesn't say a lot, but for that, he listens all the better. Nothing escapes him.
So he scouts for you?
Not just that. It's happened more than once. I was closing a deal with someone, and Dangler told me after that he didn't like the smell of the fellow. Nearly every time he was right. And the fellow tried to stab me in the back afterwards.
Those Behrman brothers are quite a pair.
Indeed they are. There's no more mercy in them than in, well, a bear. If I told them to skewer you on the spot, they'd do it, without batting an eyelid.
Jesus.
Oh, aye. They'd argue first about which one of them got to do the job. But they're as obedient as a huntsman's dogs. Real soldiers, the pair of them. Reliable, as long as they don't get too drunk. Then there's no keeping them under control. But nobody's perfect.
What can you tell me about Stefan?
Fletching. For one thing, he's a very resourceful fellow.
How did he come to join your band?
Well, let's just say he was in the right place at the right time. You'll find he has quite a knack for that.
What exactly happened?
Sorry, I'd love to tell you the whole story, but I'd be betraying his trust.
Oh, now you've got me curious. Maybe I should ask him myself.
Sure, why not? Our Fletch does love to converse.
What about that dumb one? How did he end up with you?
The stone? Oh, he just kind of tagged along.
Just like that?
Aye, just like that. We were riding from Olomouc to a castle past Kladsko, when we ran into him and some other wayfarers camping along the way. You know how it goes. We made acquaintance with them, had a drink or two.
I'm not sure I'd be thinking that if I ran into you lot on the road.
We might have done some things I ain't proud of, but wayfarers are sacred even for me. Anyway, our fellow travellers, except for the stone, he stuck with us the whole way. The fellas, when we were approaching Barsdorf, I ordered the men to get rid of him. I had some business at the castle, and Stefan tried to tell him nicely, but he just sat there, staring like he was turned to stone. That's when we gave him the name. Then the Behrman brothers tried to get him off his horse. He booted Jan in the face and knocked him out cold. Then he jumped down and felled Petter with one punch. A man who can do that is a man you want on your side. So we kept him.
Weren't you worried about having a stranger in your band?
No, I figured if he can't talk, he can't tell.
What about Jakey?
Jakey, that boy will be the death of me. You've got to be tough on him, or he's good for nothing. But I'm fond of him, in a way.
Like a son?
I wouldn't go that far. But I've no family of my own. And unlike those other cutthroats, he seems to me like...
Well, you're pretty hard on him, though.
The boy needs a firm hand. I was like him once, and I got the same too. If we...
True. Sir Radzig told me the Rick... Oh, he might have...
Sinning and confessing all in one... Anyway. Hell...
I'd been to see Sir Radzig.
So how did he take the news?
Well, he wasn't exactly happy about it.
I can well imagine. I wouldn't want the Zul's plundering my estates either. If I had any.
He wants us to carry on patrolling the area. There's nothing else for it.
That makes sense. I don't think he'll come to us. So we'll just have to hope we run into him. I'd like to check out the big forest to the north, and then carry on via Ujits.
Sure.
Mount up then, and let's go.
Please, can we stop for a bit? My arse is aching, and I've such a thirst I could drink a moat dry.
Same here.
What do you say, Chief?
Not to worry. We'll choose it soon. We'll spend the night there.
I heard they've got a peculiar priest there. They say he drinks like the devil himself.
There's nothing strange about that. Every other man of the cloth is a swill pot.
Or a lecher.
Or both.
Quiet. Listen.
For the love of God, help! Please, please, sir, help me.
Don't worry, lass. Nothing to fear. We're with Sir Radzig, in the manner of speaking. What's the matter?
These brigands came. The menfolk fled and left us there. They started pillaging the place, drinking whatever they could find and smashing things. I ran off, but the other girls... You've got to save them. Please, I beg you.
Easy, lass. Drinking, you say?
Aye, sir. They rolled the casks into the courtyard and started swilling like pigs from a trough.
Well, as our old cook used to say, if you want to make a proper goulash, you should soak the meat in ale for a while to soften it first.
Ah, let them get well soaked, and then go and chop them up. Good thinking, Chief.
But what about the girls? Those men, they were...
I'm sure your friends won't be getting nothing they ain't had before.
Well, unless they be nuns.
Kuno, the girl's right. If we delay, her friends will pay the price for it.
I appreciate your advice, Henry. But it's caution that'll keep you alive, not chivalrous deeds.
How do you think Sir Radzig will look if you let that happen? What will people say?
If I cared what people say, I wouldn't be a mercenary. It's no skin off my nose.
Well, I can tell you, Sir Radzig cares, and so do I. So we better ride there right now.
Oh, all right. I hope your Radzig will take care of my funeral mass too. My sin-burdened soul will need a bit of a push to get through the gates of heaven.
Don't worry. They won't be as drunk as you'd like, but they won't be entirely sober either.
True enough. Let's do it then. Right. Those from Hagen's brutes. Let's go!
Who wants their back covered?
My right arm is stiff since last night. Cover that side for me.
It's all in the wrist dangler.
And best to take off your gauntlet first, so as not to do yourself an injury.
Still, it's always good to have your helmet well polished before battle.
Thanks for the invaluable advice, brothers.
I'll watch your right side then, yeah?
Thanks, Jakey.
Fuck! What's up, brother? It's a sign from God, Pecker. A foretaste of what we'll do with the liquid loot we take from the foe. I wanted to charge them with a purifying roar. There'll be no more wine flowing here. Now it's your blood. Stay to the ground.
Who wants their back covered?
My right arm is stiff since last night. Cover that side for me.
It's all in the wrist dangler.
And best to take off your gauntlet first, so as not to do yourself an injury.
Still, it's always good to have your helmet well polished before battle.
Thanks for the invaluable advice, brothers.
I'll watch your right side then, yeah?
Thanks, Jakey.
what we'll do with the liquid loot we take from the foe.
Shit. I wanted to charge them with a terrifying roar. There'll be no more wine flowing here. Now it's your blood that will stain the ground.
They'll be shitting themselves with laughter.
What's the matter? Come on.
So, where's those damsels we so gallantly rescued?
Hey,
Their heels as soon as they saw the bit of you. That's their thing.
good fella.
you can take me on?